the deadline came with interesting stuff. Like we came out of I think we were seeing signs of death of that World Series confirmed Yankees team. It would have been great. We would have won the COVID World Series. But we
Oh,
get into
easy.
July, getting through the dog days of summer. We have that weird Astros doubleheader coming out of the All-Star break, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's not a big deal," or it kind of was a big deal. Like, we went to those games in June. That miraculous game against the Astros. We
Yeah.
split at home with the Astros. It took two miraculous wins of the best version of the Yankees team that we'd seen to beat this Astros team, and then we went into
Hmm.
Houston. Um, and we got beat up by them. And it was weird. It was a doubleheader coming out of the break, but I think that's where the irrational Yankees fan that's perceived becomes rational because we're looking at a 700 winning percentage team, and we're like, we need to get better. We need to retool. Gallo's clogging up. We could use some contact, some outfield defense, some pitching. We could use a center fielder that's not, 300-pound home run hitter. Uh, Golden jewel of our organization, Aaron Judge. Yeah, and that's where we got
Yeah,
into
it's
the deadline
282
making some
to.
of these moves.
That's true. Yeah. Oh man, and like I think the Gallo thing, like you had to get him out there. He had to have been a like I feel bad for the guy because he seems like a really cool dude, but like he just had to have been a dark cloud for like that month leading into the All Star break and the trade deadline and all that. Just because he knew like the writing was all on the wall at that point, and the fact that he already had his like bags apparently packed and stuff like that, like a change needed to be made. So once you bring in someone like Benintendi, it's like it's clear he's gone. You know.
Yeah, that must have been a weird few days in the clubhouse when we had Benny, but we still had Gallo just hanging around the team.
Awkward.
Um, yeah, I know. Yeah, like you said, I like and respect Joey Gallo. By all accounts on the beat, they talked about Gallo being one of the positive beacons of that clubhouse. Being a jokester, being the guy that everyone liked. But ultimately his approach was tough, man. Kind of refusing, and it's hard. I'm saying refusing to adapt. It's hard to adapt at that major league level, and I think he's you know it, there was some talk about doubling down on your major league talent, like what got you to the big leagues. Like you're not gonna make
Yeah.
Joey Gallo a singles hitter, right? Like his
No.
entire life, he's been hitting home runs from Vegas that land in California. Like that's Joey Gallo's thing.
I will say though, like look at what Joey Votto has done on the opposite side of that spectrum, where
Yeah,
like Joey Votto was a contact first guy for like the majority of his career up until the last 2 seasons, and then he said, "Screw it! Like I'm getting beat on certain pitches. Like I'm not, the athlete I once was. Let me readjust and figure out how to drive the ball in the air." And it worked out perfectly because he still had those contact tools. So he compromised his batting average a little bit, but he ended up what boosting his productivity a bunch because he was hitting more homers and doubles and gappers. So
yeah,
like it's definitely possible. And like the thing is, Joey's only what 27, 28. Another one of these young guys. Like he had that entire left side of the infield wide open, and
yep,
like at least you would see Rizzo make the adjustment with two strikes and try to slap that one way, or even like lay down a little bunts from time to time. And Gallo did get the bunt here and there, but it's like just let the ball travel a little bit longer and like kind of untilt your fucking launch angle a little bit, and maybe you get like
yeah,
a nice little liner down the third baseline. So like
yeah.
that part frustrated me, and I'm sure like the Yankees analytics team was like also not telling him to do that too.
Yeah.
So that's
The,
another like I feel like a lot of the issues with these players comes back to that analytics team as well.
yeah, and the tough thing with Gallo is going back to the Yankees analytics decision making team, player development team. We looked at last season and it was a bad 2 months. It was a bad 2 months of Joey Gallo, and this is a worse 3 months this year. And I think in the off season, and I don't think the CBA negotiations, the lockout, did him any favors there. But really changing your
Mm-hmm.
swing and working on those approaches are something that you need to kind of do consciously in the off season. It's hard to do that in season, so I'm sympathetic there. My problem is that no one saw it as a problem when
Yeah.
you know you can say it's a blip on the radar, but like
Hmm.
that's why you have expected metrics and like you track swings and you like and then you also have the eye test. Like you see someone's approach, you see how they stand up there in the box. Like you could tell from the 2 months of Joey Gallo, we were like, we're hoping he'll be better, return back to the mean. But there's something up here, you know. So like, are we gonna lean into his three true outcome style,
Yeah.
or and hope that he hits some timely home runs, which he never did. He had one timely home run. It was his fourth game as a
No.
Yankee. It was Michael K's great call of the his signature
Legendary.
Yankees moment. It was his only Yankees moment, and it was a porch scraper. It was the ball that
That thing
went
was a moonshot too. Yeah.
400 feet high and 316 feet to right field.
I can still see it in
um,
my head. Um,
yeah.
dude,
So we go from Joey
it's
Gallo,
rough.
the Gold Glove. Apparently, I mean the Gold Glover in the outfield who did not play as one for the Yankees to
Very
you
awkward.
know the polar opposite in Andrew Benintendi. You know, a guy who was that sure-handed. You
I
know,
love
not that
Benny,
big
man.
arm, but that range. Man, I've never liked a former Red Sox player more. Maybe Johnny Damon because he won with us. But
I was gonna say Damon's the only other one I could possibly think of, man. But Kevin
yeah.
Youkilis, no. um, Benny is an interesting situation though because like I love the move from the jump, but at the same time, like every time I watched him swing, I was very concerned because he was leaving his backhand on the bat, which like he was taking off his right hand like completely when he would go through his follow through, and then his left hand would be still trailing with the bat in hand. And there was just something that looked a little off and wonky about that, and he always like kind of looked like he was cringing. But I was like, maybe this is just a feel thing for him, and he's like trying to get reacclimated to like a new bat or something, and it's like a mid-season adjustment for him. I was like not too concerned, but I was still keeping an eye on it. And then he starts hitting really, really well. So I was like, clearly he figured out whatever he was looking for. But then he gets injured, and I was like, this is the exact thing that I like had in the back of my mind that was concerning me, and it turned out to
Yeah.
be that
And
hamate
you
bone.
could tell, yeah, it's such a weird injury, man. Like I think Cash spoke to it in the presser. Like
How do you
it
not
was
get the entire
something.
thing like removed?
Yeah, it was nuts. Like I don't know. They mentioned like I haven't read much on it, but like the Cash said the surgeon like left early and like it
Yeah,
like how does as a professional athlete
and you're getting
like
paid how many dollars to like as a surgeon to take care of this one fairly simple surgery
yeah like
that
organizationally how and it didn't happen under the Yankees watch. This is not the
no
Yankees
no no
fault,
this is with
you know.
Kansas City or way back actually.
Yeah, I think he was he in college
I think he
still
was in college, yeah, so this is like a
at
long time
Arkansas.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no freak injury, and you know we saw his impact. I mean, he was really good. He was like the two Yankees that were good during the dark times, and let's um we'll get into August. Well, actually, I'll talk about some more trades, but it was Benny and Judge like through August.
Yeah.
But coming into that August also, we had Stanton go down, and that was pretty conservative. Sevy went down after the break, and we put him on the 60 in July. On the 60 day, he was not happy about that. Sevy down, Stanton down. We trade for Frankie Montas, give away Yankees legend JP Sears and Ken Waldachuk.
R.I.P.
Rip to them, who were tearing it up in Oakland
They've
with
all
nobody
done well
watching.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't even talk about
But
Hayden
we got Lou Trevino
Wesneski
out of it
going
and
over.
Montas.
Hmm.
Hell yeah. And those
Trevino
are
was
big. Those are big prospects.
Yeah, I mean, like
Sorry.
Wesneski, like his stuff was like nasty from that Futures game that I saw when he pitched a few months ago. He looked
Yeah.
great. So I mean, I think that's a nice little swap though because Efros is going to be very serviceable after next year because he has to obviously recover
Yep.
from this Tommy John. It's going to take a full year. So that sucks. But I think for the future, it kind of evens out just fine. It just sucks because like the Yankees did have a moment where it looked like they might have needed another starting pitcher, and like one of those prospects could have probably helped out for a little bit.
Hmm. Or maybe at times, and I think we're all at the same level on it now. But we went through August. We could use that extra starting pitcher. You got rid of Jordan Montgomery, who's Yankees, came up through the organization. He took his engagement pictures at the stadium. That came out soon after he got traded. That was a heartbreaker. He's still hanging out with a lot of the guys. He's going to be I forget who's getting married over the offseason. Or I think it's him. The Yankees are
Yeah.
going to be at his wedding mostly. The invites are out. And we get a guy who doesn't play. We get Harrison Bader, who, like, a lot of Yankees fans didn't know, National League Baseball, Gold Glove. We went to Harry Bader's first game,
Damn right we
and
did.
right off the bat, man. Right off the bat, there's a lot more that happened in that game than Harrison Bader being the best player ever.
No, that was the highlight. That was
Um,
the sole thing.
the only thing in that game, just if you cut it after 8, Harrison Bader is the MVP.
ALCS and DS
Um,
MVP.
no, this guy, you know, he played. Harrison Bader comes in. We lose Monty for a month, so Cash is getting killed for that, and then we have Montas, who's when he's not available, he has that really bad start in St. Louis when we go up against Monty and a blow up start, and it's looking like these trades didn't work out too well. Honestly, aside from Montas, man, I think it was, and Montas is still even TBD. It was all check marks on my end from this trade deadline. Like, we got pieces that we needed. A lot of stuff ended up not working out.
Yeah.
Benny goes down, Efros goes down, but Bader, man, we're not we losing 4 to Cleveland without Harrison Bader.
I don't think
You know,
we have, I don't know, like that the end of the season, like thankfully the Yankees ran away with it, but like that last month could have gone very differently without him. Like the
yeah,
Toronto could have put a lot of pressure on us. The Rays could have put a lot of pressure on us. And he was one of the main reasons that we were still able to kind of stay afloat and ultimately get what a nine game lead over those two teams. Um,
yeah,
so I don't think we are where we would have ended up, and I think that there would have been a very different tone to the press conference yesterday had like that turned out the way that it could have. I think that Bader single-handedly like might have saved like Cashman's job, just because that was
yeah.
such a big move to make, and he could easily be the center fielder of the future for the next 8 to 10 years. He's the first guy outside of Judge I would look to extend like immediately.
And to have him be a defensive first center fielder with the pop he can give and with the at
Yeah,
bats that he can give, it's huge, man. This guy led off the game for us in the ALCS, and I think that's a reflection. He shouldn't be a leadoff hitter, but that's more a
he should
reflection of where the
also
Yankees were at than
he should
him.
also know that
But
he is going to lead off too, which is a clear miscue in terms of miscommunication from Boone and the management team.
yeah, with Bader all around, it gave some crazy insight to how this stuff works, how that communication works. Because the thing coming out of the beat was that when we got rid of Monty, that it was because we thought that we had, what was it, Pablo Lopez?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah, yeah.
who
We
we're
we
trading
literally
for?
had it. I think it was like on the 1 yard line, whatever like that
Yeah,
term is, and I think that they wanted Glaber. I'm pretty sure it was Glaber and Hicks, and then I think there was one other
yeah.
player, and it fell through like very last minute. So they thought they had that trade in the bag. They thought they were getting a pitcher back outside of just Montas.
And it must have broke down really late because I got the notification of Monty Bader online at the stadium.
It was within
I
five
was,
minutes of
I,
the deadline ending. Like I remember, I think I
yeah,
texted you because I was watching like 3 live streams at the time, and
yeah.
I got the notification on Twitter like before like the live streams caught up to it, and then we all collectively like, what the fuck? Like we immediately like Monty's gone, and who are we getting? And then oh shit, Bader. Like and then I immediately hit up my friend who's like he's one of my good buddies from Mississippi, but he's a
hmm
Cards fan, and he was like, "You're getting a fucking like." He was very mad, like immediately.
Yeah.
And I was more confused, but I also like was excited because I just knew how electric of a player that Bader was going to be for us, and it was just a
Yeah.
matter of I didn't know how hurt he was, and I think the timing of his injury kind of worked itself out perfectly. That's like one of the few like IL stints that like had the perfect amount of time for him to ramp up and get ready for the playoffs.
The only one.
Literally the only
Because
one,
we
yeah.
we thought we'd go into September. We're like, okay, maybe Benny, maybe DJ,
Mm-hmm.
Carpenter might be impact, and none of them worked
No.
out. And that kind of so that trade rumors, I think how much do you want to buy into how much these players are really in tune with the media and whatnot. If there is someone who's in tune with all of this, if there's a Yankee that's likeliest to watch this or listen to this podcast right now at this level, it's Gleyber Torres. Um, and he's a young man, and we went through, it was a sign. Glaber really went through it in August. It was tough to the point where I think I'm at a better point with him mentally now. I don't know that I'd mind getting rid of Glaber. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
He's a really good second baseman impact bat, but I use my girlfriend to level set kind of where I am in terms of my reactions to Yankees games. And that day against the Mets, man, when Glaber had a few at bats, and then I don't know, he had that play on a
An error.
cutoff where he
Yeah.
was running into yeah, and he dove a second, um, and then running into scoring for the Mets. I was like, what are you doing? What's going through your head? And she was like, oh, take it easy with him. I'm like, he's like so in his head, right? Like
Like, look at
it's
the
so
body
bad. It's so
language
in
is
his.
terrible.
And two innings later, she was like, "Is that the guy from before? Is it like Glaber?" And he's just like standing there, like they cut on him. He's like pouting,
He looks like a
talking
little
Yankees to the
kid.
term puppy dog Glaber.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it affects him, man. I do really think that was a blow to his confidence, and I understand like it's the organization has invested so much in Glaber
Yeah.
for the last few years. That's his entire professional life.
I think his psyche is the most malleable out of any like Yankee player, which sucks because like when he's on top of the world, he's unstoppable. Like he hits better than most guys I've seen.
Yeah.
He has like I mean we saw the power come back this season, which is awesome. And clearly, like playing second baseman over shortstop was a big move for him. Like he needed to do that. But like you said, he just gets so down on himself that it's impossible for him to really come back out of it in the same game and make the adjustment to like have that short-term memory in the moment. It's just not possible for him. And when you've got
Yeah.
guys like Peraza and Cabrera that are like kind of in the weeds waiting for their moment, and we saw both of them this year, I don't think there's a reason for him to, have any kind of like job security with the Yankees right now. I think he has definitely, upped his trade value. I think most Yankees fans would be fine if he's still there next year. But at the same time, like at the end of the day, you can sell him while he's hot, which is right now. Um, and I think that
And that's where you kind of have to parlay it on that end of season form, his confidence coming into back into a winning team, because like you outlined it, we have DJ, Glaber, Peraza, Cabrera, Volpe
yeah,
as viable options at second base,
hmm
and IKF even, and those are all guys who are on our 40 man
yeah,
right now. Yeah, Volpe's on the 40, so. Like if we're looking at second base, we're looking at retaining Rizzo. If you can't offload Donaldson, but you got to play the kids, you're someone's being traded. Whether that's and I think Glaber is the one piece who's still a young impact player. He's an all-star level player when he's right,
yeah,
who's proven.
hmm
And you can get rid of the kids. I think they might have a higher upside than what Glaber has proven his professional career to be. Um, so it's tough. We'll see where that gets, but Glaber, and then we'll see if he comes back. I feel like it's almost best just to get rid of him because they're gonna have to shop him or look around this offseason, and those rumors alone could consume him.
Well, yeah, because you now have like he knows this. They have an excess of infielders or guys that can play middle infield. So there's already younger. Like he's always known like seen himself as the young guy. I'm only 24. I'm only 25. It's like well now you've got guys that are 22, 23 that are just as
Hmm.
talented as you that probably wanted a little bit more than you because they see like a little bit of a weakness there in that specific position, especially in the postseason. Both Peraza and Cabrera saw that firsthand this season. So the competitive nature of both of those guys would like lead me to assume that they're going to be gunning for that position and doing everything they can in the spring training to actually get on the roster. Um, so I think that like if you're Glaber, you're kind of already shitting your pants a little bit, and if you're the Yankees, you have to think like this is a guy that would thrive in a smaller market because he wouldn't have nearly as much pressure of playing in the pinstripes. Because every player at this point has talked about how much pressure there is when you are playing with this franchise. So if you get him in an environment where it's like a little bit lower stakes, the stakes are not high, um,
The stakes, they're
or
high.
high, I think that would put him in a lot better position to thrive and then succeed and also just be happier. Um, and on top of that, you can get a damn good pitcher out of him.
Yeah.
So that's someone that I would
Uh,
immediately be looking to spin.